Welcome to Books, Beauty, and Business, where we inspire, motivate, and encourage others through laughter, accountability, success stories, and most importantly, easy steps for achieving greatness. My name is Tawny Bro, and I'm very excited to introduce Lorrie Lee, co-founder of TwinEngine, a brand consulting firm. They help leaders grow their business and really stand out from the competition. She's worked with some of the largest public and privately held companies in the region, helping them to find their distinct advantage and what they stand for and build a plan to take off. Her left brain thinking with her twin sister's right brain thinking helps businesses align their brand and business strategy. Now, she's co-written 2 books, Stand Out, Tools to Master the 8 Fundamentals of Standing Out in Business, and my favorite, and what we're going to talk about today, What Do You Stand For? That book helps individuals define what makes them truly unique and the difference they make in the world. Thank you for joining me today. Let's hear more from Lorrie. So I'm so excited to have you here. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you, Tawny. I'm excited to be here too.
Okay. So let's get into this because I love this story. So share a little bit about your story.
My story. Well, the most interesting one is I was born an identical twin.
Okay. Yes.
And we grew up basically wearing the same clothes, looking identical. But when we got about 13, 14 years old, we really wanted to look different from each other. Mm-hmm. So we did whatever we could to look different from each other. So, Winnie wore black, I wore white, just trying to be different from each other.
Different hairstyles, different makeup,
everything. Yep. And people always ask us, did you ever switch classes? Uh-huh. We never did.
Oh no?
One time we did, and we were actually in Halloween costumes.
Okay.
So, and I think it was just because we were trying to be so different. Mm-hmm. But anyway, growing up, we just she went her way, I went my way, and then when I went in more toward human resources. Okay. She's a designer, so she's really in fine arts. Okay. So completely different. But we always wanted to work together. Mm-hmm. But then about I guess it was 1989, I had 2 small children, and I was going through a divorce.
Okay.
So I called Winnie up and I said, "Hey, what am I going to do?" And she goes, "Come work with me." Mm-hmm. So I said, well, what am I going to do? And she said, "We'll figure it out." It was just a wonderful
that life-changing moment. Yes.
Yeah. In fact, my first day on the job was sitting in a window for a photo shoot. So I thought,
I can do this.
But 20 years later, it was the best decision ever made.
Oh, that's amazing. Yeah. So it's crazy how life throws you those curveballs, mm-hmm. right? You never expect those type of situations, mm-hmm. and then a door opened for amazing new adventure.
Mm-hmm. It was great. It's great now.
Yes.
Love it.
And 20 years later, you're still loving it.
20 years later.
I love it. Yeah. So I'm going to go through the Books, Beauty, and Business questions. Great. So how did you find your love for the marketing world?
Well, honestly, I didn't like it at first. And I think it was because it was back in the early 90s, mm-hmm. And we were doing ads. Statement stuffers, ads, things like that. So mm-hmm. we were selling services for our clients. And coming from a human resource role, mm-hmm. When I was in human resource, I was really helping people. I was helping them in their careers. I was helping them build their, help train them, hire them. Involved in recruiting. Mm-hmm. And so I really felt great because I felt like I was really helping people. Yeah. But then when I started out in marketing, I just kind of lost that feeling. Mm-hmm. And Katrina, we're actually from New Orleans. Yeah. After Katrina, Wayne and I sat down and thought, it was really a very traumatic experience. And we sat down and thought about what do we really want to do. Mm-hmm. And so we completely changed our approach. Mm-hmm. We moved to Houston and really started helping our clients. And it's really about growing their brand. Mm-hmm. So help, not sell. Mm-hmm. And we've been doing that ever since. So the interesting part, and it really kind of started a couple of years ago when we were writing this book, What Do You Stand For, mm-hmm. Is that we actually participated both in writing the book and trial and error. And when I really found out when I really kind of uncovered what I stood for, mm-hmm. it was interesting because it was really about helping people. Mm-hmm. But I wasn't thinking that in my role as working in marketing. So it was just really inspiring to get to that point.
Yeah, and you found what you were doing before in HR, you were kind of living that natural, you were helping people.
Exactly.
And so then you now incorporated that into your marketing world. Mm-hmm. helping people with the brand.
I was always doing it though.
Yes.
I just didn't realize that I was always doing it, you know. And it completely changed my outlook on my career, actually myself, because when you connect to that, it's just such a powerful thing. Yeah. So.
What do you stand for is just a powerful statement.
Yeah.
Just in itself. It's something that when you say out loud, it just automatically makes you start thinking, what do I stand for? That's such a... Okay, so now this next question is a direct lead in from that, but what was the inspiration to write What Do You Stand For, the What Do You Stand For book?
Well, I think it's about, you know, being an identical twin, we're always compared to each other. But if you think about people, everybody's compared to everybody.
Oh, yeah.
Everyone looks the same. How do you stand out? And it's just a challenging in today's world, especially with social media and you know, just the whole internet. It's very hard to stand out. And we, as a company, work with our clients to help them stand out. You know, we go in, we define what their distinct advantage is, you know, what their core values are, what they stand for, and you know, help them develop authentic messaging around that. But we were in a situation in a client meeting, and the client said, you know, how can I know what our company stands for when I don't know what I stand for? So it was like, wow.
Yeah.
Wow. So we read the book.
That's amazing. It's when you start thinking about standing out, what you just said, and with social media, one of the things I find that we sometimes do compare ourselves too much to everyone else around us, or what's out there, or second guessing and self-doubting, why am I doing this? Everyone does it, or what makes me different? And there was a quote that I loved, is you're uniquely you, and that's your superpower. So you can take that and then turn that into like how you're helping people identify their brand. Now, figuring that out is the tricky part, because when you're just thinking about it, like, what do I stand for? Like, does your book walk you through a process? Is that, like, give us a little more insight to your book.
So in our book, it's really about self-reflection.
Okay.
And someone, you know, it all depends on the person. You know, they don't have to complete the entire book to discover what they stand for. But to find out what you stand for, and I think it's one of the challenging things, is you really got to look inside. You got to look inside. And, you know, it really kind of starts with thinking about your childhood and what you love to do, and kind of just kind of thinking differently. That, you know, what would you do? What would you do like today if it wasn't about a salary, right? If you didn't have to work, what would you do? You know, it's kind of hard to think about.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, you know,
because I have to work.
But what if you could pursue your favorite thing to do? You know, thinking about things kind of that you wouldn't normally think of. Also, you know, what are you passionate about? What do you know, what are your values? We also look at, you know, colors and what those meanings are. So just to start thinking about yourself. The most interesting part that I found in the book is talking to your friends. In the book, you talk to 5 of your friends, and they tell you, you know, what they think about you.
Oh,
yeah,
nice.
Yeah.
Get a little insight from the ladies.
Yeah, what one word describes you? What one word would describe Tawny? So, and then what do they like best about you, and what do you do really well? And what you find out is it's kind of, you know, it's very inspiring, because you know, it really makes you feel good, because it makes you think about what you're really passionate about. Yeah. So it's really a workbook, and there's just a lot of different tools in here that anybody can work through to discover what they stand for. It does follow a formula though. So the formula is, I stand for blank, so that blank. So I stand for, and the first part is all about contribution. You know, what do you want to contribute in your life?
Okay.
And then the part at the end is really about the impact. So what difference do you want to make in the world? So it's a formula, and it really takes a lot longer than you think it does.
Yeah, to sit down and really think about that.
So what we did was we started off with a WDYS 100, and what that is we started sharing with this with other women. We started sharing the book. This is about to be our 5th printing for this
wow.
book. Yeah. So, and actually we included them in the book. It's the WDYSF 100, and we included what they stand for in the book, and it was just so it was just so inspiring listening to them and hearing their stories and really, and you know, when you read some of these and actually know a lot of these people, it's like, yeah, I knew that.
Yeah.
But giving them the opportunity for them to really define it was a really special.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
So everyone, there will be a link where you can find this book on the website and on Lorrie Lee's page on Books, Beauty, and Business as well. So we'll put that information out there for you. That's pretty cool. So how does someone define what they stand for? You kind of just talked us through it in the book. Do you have other books you would recommend for the ladies to really start engaging and thinking about this?
Well, it's actually kind of funny because I bought it for my daughter.
Okay.
It's a book I bought for my daughter, and I read it last week, and so it's top of mind. And I was just like, oh, of course. So it's The Subtle Art of Not Giving a F. Okay, have you seen that book?
Yep.
So I was in Barnes & Noble with my daughter. I have 2 daughters.
Okay.
And I was in Barnes & Noble with my daughters. We were looking at the bestsellers, and I'm like, you know, I was buying a book. Actually, I love James Patterson.
Okay. Yep.
And so she says, oh, I want this book. And I looked, I was like, you want that book? And she's like, yes.
I don't know what's in that book.
I know, I was like, all right, anyway. She said, Mom, you have to read this book. She says it because it relates so much to what you and Winnie are doing in terms of, you know, where you stand for, your book. So, have you read the book?
I have.
Yeah.
I have.
So, but it goes back to what we were just saying about being compared to other people, and it's very stressful and overwhelming, especially when you're looking at social media. It's like, you know, you see it's the best of the world, right?
Yes.
Because nobody really wants to post everything.
Yeah, their day-to-day mundane life is not on there.
I'm having coffee now. Oh, yes, I have some friends that do that.
Yeah.
But you know, it's all like fear of missing out. Fear of missing out. So it's very stressful because you know you're just running around. You know, information. What is it, like 9,000 messages?
Yeah.
You know, every minute, every day. It's just a lot to take in. But what the book does is it kind of makes you think about what you really care about, what you're really passionate about, and not saying yes to everything.
Yes.
You know, really knowing when to say no. And so the focus for us is really like the focus is yes. The focus of this book was really learning how to say no, and really focusing on what's really important to you, what you're passionate about, and how to integrate your life. Because one of the things about this whole principle of what you stand for, when you know what you stand for, it changes your whole outlook. You know, it changes everything. It changes everything. You know, it gives you clarity. You know, it makes you stop and think about, you know, is what I'm doing in terms of my career, is it aligned with what I stand for? And it's a real quick, like, yes or no.
Yeah.
You know?
The people in my life, are they aligned with me? The things that I'm doing, the decisions I'm making, does that align with my purpose and where I'm trying to go? Yeah.
Yeah.
You have kind of the baseline for decision making, almost, when you can really pinpoint, this is what I stand for, and so this is what I'm going to focus on.
Exactly. So anyway, that was a really great book. Kind of the opposite, but the same idea. And anyway, I read that last week, so it was a quick read. It was fun.
Well, that's a great recommendation. I have read it, despite the title and the profanity. I was like, but
there's a lot of profanity in it.
But
What
it's
did you
good.
think about the book?
I liked it. I took the same thing away from it too, is that you really have to have some boundaries with what you're and know what you care about too, and then make those things a priority for you. So family is a priority, and sometimes when we're working so much, we forget, hey, take time. Time is passing so fast.
I know. Blink.
I mean, Ella, she's 15. I never thought she'd be 15, and so taking time to just like get away with her and to spend time with her, and that was a big thing. Even over spring break, a girlfriend of mine, we're so busy and we didn't have time to, but we're like, we have to do something because time's just flying, and these are things that are important to us. So I did like it, and it was kind of that rough, like, get your ass going and stop playing around, you know, like that drill sergeant that sometimes we need to hear, right?
And I think a lot of times we're just going through the motions, right? You get Monday through Friday, you know, you're at work Monday through Friday, and the weekend's like, way fine, you know. But really stepping back and looking at each day. You know, just it's, you know, each day is so important. It's not really just about the weekends. So how do we make the most of that?
Yes.
Yeah.
And how do we stay grateful through it?
Yeah, and that's a big word for me, grateful. It's really life, to me, life can completely change if you're grateful.
I agree with that philosophy too. That it changes your whole mindset, like you said before. So since it is Books, Beauty, and Business, do you have a favorite beauty tip?
Oh, well, of course the obvious, rest. I think rest is really important. Because if you're not rested, it just impacts everything about you. Your attitude, how you look, of course water, drinking water, but just think about what you just said. I know this is probably odd, but I think being grateful. Because if you just think about being grateful, you can't be stressed. You can't be mad. You're positive. People are drawn to you. So I'm gonna go with grateful.
I love it.
Yeah.
I love it.
Yeah.
Rest, hydrated, and gratefulness. I love it. Those are great tips. So do you do anything like daily, consistently? Any tips for success that you really like to stick with?
Well, I think the most important thing is live what you stand for. Because if you do that, you're going to be passionate in whatever you're doing, no matter what you're doing. But I do a lot of different things, and I've learned a lot. I'm really trying to go paperless.
Okay.
Right now. So we're basically trying to just put everything. I mean, I know you're in the technology business. I don't know how you feel about that, but it's just paper can be very overwhelming in our business because we're a lot of things involve paper.
Your marketing and branding and paper
a lot of paper,
and ads and things. Yep.
So that's one thing that's really helped me in doing that, and also following a routine. I think having routines. We were talking about yoga.
Yeah.
And if you follow that routine, you're going to continue to do it. You're going to it becomes kind of a habit. So I love routines.
I do too.
Yeah.
And I think, and I say this, I've probably said this in a lot of interviews, but the Jennifer Shula recommended this book to me. It's called The Miracle Morning by Hal Elrod. And it just gives you that purpose for your morning. Get up and focus on you and take some time to center yourself and exercise and meditate, and it just gives you this whole routine that you can start in the morning. And I know it's not easy to start new routines, especially if you're including exercise in them, but once you incorporate it and you've done it, I think they say 21 days for any habit.
21 days?
It might be, I could be wrong, but you then don't want to live without it. Then when you start missing it, you're like, oh, I wish I would have had a chance to go and let me make up here, let me do this here. So I agree with routines. I really do. And I think consistent tweaks to your habits get you where you want to be in the long run. Whether it's health or weight or whatever, it's those little habits that you can change in your life.
Tiny. And I think that's one thing. It has to also be realistic. I mean, who does in January? It's like, this is my New Year's resolution.
Yeah.
I don't do resolutions, but
yeah.
Well, and they last 15, 2 weeks, but I think being realistic is really important too. Because if not, you can get very overwhelmed in trying to do those things that you really want to do. So baby steps.
Yes, yeah. I agree.
But there's one other thing I was thinking about in terms of success. And my dad always told he'd lecture us sitting
as dads do, right?
As dads do, and I'm so grateful for that. Now, back then I'm thinking, oh, what am I going to wear tomorrow? Yeah. But one thing he kept saying over and over again is, you don't know what you don't know. Rolling our eyes for it, but it stuck. It stuck with us because of course he said it over and over again. And what I've learned about that is always learning. And I think if you're always open to, you don't know, if you can kind of take it in and you really don't know what you don't know, the world's so big.
Yes.
Yeah.
I like that. Yeah. I'm a believer in continued education and professional development. I think even the best can always get better. There's always going to be someone else right behind you, but there's always something to learn, and I love that philosophy too. I embrace that. And that's part of why Books, Beauty, and Business was started as well, is to continue to share the success stories and to share that type of advice. But I think you're absolutely right. You don't know what you don't know. You don't know what's coming up around the corner or next year or 5 years. My life 5 years ago is so different than my life today. So exactly. So so I believe that as well. Keep learning, investing in yourself. You will never regret. Not investing in yourself, you may regret. Investing in other things, you may regret. but investing in yourself, you will never regret. Ever. So any additional motivation for the ladies listening?
Well, define what you stand for. And if you would like a book, we have these books. We're actually about to publish. We're going to be sharing this with companies too. So we'll be publishing these soon. But if you want a book, reach out to me. I'm happy to share.
Okay. Excellent. Yeah. Well, thank you so much for
Thank
today.
You,
it's been a real pleasure talking to you and listening to you. Lorrie has an identical twin with TwinEngine branding. All of their information will be below, along with the other books they've written together as well, and some new things that are coming out. So thank you so much for listening today, and we will see you next time on a Books, Beauty, and Business interview. Bye.
Thank you. Bye.